Good evening, people. Here we go again. It's Friday night, and I'm looking forward to being with you tonight and doing a little bit of creating as well. Okay, all right, so I had a great day today. It's one of those days where lots of things went really well. I sold some stuff. I had some orders. I also had a few people order my new tutorial bundle, which went live today. I marketed that today, which was great. So thank you so much for everyone out there who has supported my business. Even when I'm locked down, I can still keep going, and it's kind of exciting. So just about the designer series paper sale, they're having a 15% off sale, which may not sound like a lot. So these are only the $20 papers, except for this one. I'll show you. So all these ones, these 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yep, these 8 have $20 papers that are marked down 15%, so they're $17, which you think, well, $3, what's the big deal? But if you were buying 2 packs, that's your postage covered, because postage is $5.95, right? So you'd be saving $6 on 2 packs of paper. So if you're looking at stocking up on some designer series paper, this is a great time to do it. It will save you some money. The In Good Taste pack is also 15% off, but because this is a double pack, instead of being $20, it's normally $37, and it's marked down to $31.45. Now, these are Australian prices that I'm giving you, so if you're elsewhere, check with your demonstrator, because wherever you are, the prices may be a little will be different, definitely, other than the prices I'm giving you right now. Okay. All right, so this is a really great thing, and I thought I'd pick a couple of my favorites out and play with them tonight. I've just had a big month of playing around with the pansy petals stuff, so I'm not going to do those tonight. We did pansy petals I did them in my online specialty class last month, but I also did them for the tutorial bundle. And this month, the tutorial, if I can speak properly, that'd be great. This month, the tutorial bundle is the You're a Peach suite of products, and if you haven't seen that, what the tutorial bundle is, it's 15 different demonstrators around the world. I'm one of them, and the 15 of us each make a project. We each write out the PDF, which is a document with all the measurements. There's photos, there's instructions, step by step, all that stuff. We bundle them all together, so you get a wonderful, great big bundle of 15 different projects. Okay, it's 87 pages long. That gives you an idea of how valuable it is. And those 15 projects, you can use them in all kinds of ways. You can either buy them for $25, or you can spend $60 with me this month in an order, either through me directly or online, it doesn't matter. And as soon as you spend $60 in an order, I immediately will send you one of those bundles. Okay, so there's 2 ways to get it. You can either order with me, or you can buy it outright for $25. Okay, so, and while I'm not doing classes, that's been really handy, having that little bit of it's like having class fees come in, but of course without not having the classes. So that's been pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to bring up one of my favorite papers. This is the You're a Peach paper. This one obviously is mine. I've already chopped it up. I actually have another one here because I knew that I would want more than one of these. And on the backs of the papers, I don't know if you know this, it tells you what colors are in the paper. So in this one, you've got Balmy Blue, Bumblebee, Calypso Coral, Early Espresso, which is the dark brown, Mango Melody, Pale Papaya, Pear Pizzazz, the green, Petal Pink, and Whisper White. Okay, so it's on a white base, which is why Whisper White is there. Interestingly, we don't have Whisper White as a color anymore, because some of you may know that the factory that used to make our Whisper White cardstock went out of business last year. So because of that, our white cardstock's not called Whisper White anymore. It's called Basic White. But they're still calling it Whisper White in here for a couple of reasons, I think, and I'm just guessing here. I'm going to guess probably because the catalogue was probably all listed and printed, and you know, they had it all ready to go before the business went under for that cardstock. But also our ink is still called Whisper White ink. So yeah, the colour Whisper White still exists. You just can't buy it in the cardstock. But Basic White is almost identical. It's actually a really great replacement. Has anyone had that experience where you've seen that you're able to still get the Basic White? The Basic White is really similar to the Whisper White. I know people were worried about it, but please don't worry. So for me, the overwhelming color choices in here, even though it's got all those different colors, the main colors are Calypso Coral, the Balmy Blue, and the Pear Pizzazz. They're the three big color choices in here, and there's a little bit of pale papaya too. So if you look at the peaches in this paper, you can see they'll pale papaya. That's a lot of peas, like Peter Piper picked a pickled peppers, like that. But pale papaya, and then you've got Calypso Coral around here, right? Now, I just noticed that nobody has commented for a while, and I'm wondering if it's my screen and I can't see your comments, or whether you just are all so interested in what I'm saying that you haven't commented. Not sure which. I'm going to refresh the screen and see if I can find out. All right, so what I have discovered, okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the theory of this tonight, because this is something that really interests me. You guys know I'm really interested in color theory, and I often talk about, you know, blues and, you know, blue greens and yellow greens and all that kind of stuff. Well, something that's been really interesting in the fashion industry is that there's a big trend towards pattern mixing. And some of you may have seen this. I really struggled with the whole idea of pattern mixing when it comes to clothes, because I was always taught, you can wear a dress that's got a print, but if you're going to wear a top and a bottom, you wear one that's got a print and one that's solid. You don't mix patterns. You don't have one pattern on top and a different pattern down the bottom. That's just wrong. Anyone else with me there? So for that reason, I struggled a little bit with mixing my patterns with my paper. So but I've been doing a lot more of it lately, and I'll show you a couple of cards I made in the last couple of days. You may have seen them pop up, because this is the Sweet Symmetry paper, and see, this is mixing my patterns, and there's a bit of textural stuff going on here. I embossed that piece in the middle. And this is also mixing patterns. And as you can see, they actually look pretty amazing. They look really, really great. But what the rules were with the pattern mixing in the clothes was you pick a small pattern and mix it with a large pattern. You don't have two large patterns. You could get probably away with two small patterns, but the ideal things for doing pattern mixing with clothes, if you're going to do it, is dots or stripes, and then maybe a floral. So not two florals, if that makes sense. So you've got one sort of small geometric design and then a large floral or a medium-sized floral design. I don't know if that makes any sense. But, so there you go. Yes. I think that's right, Kim. I'm just looking at your comment there. Sometimes the two sheets on opposite sides mix really, really well. Okay, so this one, yes, I think you could get away with that. See how you've got a small design on one side and a large design on the other? That kind of works. Here we've got stripes on one side, but I probably wouldn't put those two together, because if I'm going to mix patterns, I like there to be some color correlation from one to the other. Yes, they both have white, but apart from that, this one has definitely only coral and this one's your blue and green. So I tend to mix ones that kind of have a bit of color going on. So for example, these would be a good mix. Okay, so I could have stripes and peaches. They're going to work, because you've got your blue and your blue carrying over from one to the other, and then you've got your patterns mixing. Does that kind of make sense what I'm talking about? So it's an interesting way of doing things if you haven't given it a try, but it's actually a lot of fun. And when you start mixing patterns together that go really, really well, it's quite satisfying. So I would put these together. Look at those stripes and peaches. Those are nice. You like those? And the dots and this one are really nice. You could get away with those, if that makes sense. So that's what we're going to try and achieve. We're going to put a couple of different patterns together, and I'm going to get you guys to do the deciding tonight when it comes to what color base I'm going to start with. I picked my three main colors. This is Calypso Coral, this is the Pear Pizzazz, and this is the Balmy Blue. First person to guess or tell me what color they want. I'm watching. Let's hope I can see comments now, otherwise this is going to be very quiet. I won't get to see what you want. Pear. Okay, Cindy, you're the first person in, so we're using the Pear Pizzazz. All right, so because I want to use the Pear Pizzazz, let me just put this out of the way, let's go through and work out, well, what colors go with this? All right, so we've got this one, definitely. It's got quite a bit of pear in it, and that looks really lovely. This one is going to go. So anything basically that's got the pear in it is going to be a good match. We've already got that one. We've already got that one. This one goes quite nicely. So you've got some pear leaves there. The back of that one is interesting. This only has a little bit of pear. You could get away with that, but it's mostly coral and a little bit of the pale papaya in there as well. Tiny bit of bumblebee. This is kind of, that's just blossoms, but that's quite interesting. This one would go, it's got your green stems. I'll turn it up the other way. Green stems with the little blue buds. That's going to work. So basically what we're doing is we're just picking out, oh, and this one, look at that. That's just pear. And this one's looks really watercolory to me. This is quite nice. So, all right. So I've picked out a few that I like the look of. I'll put these other pieces away because we might use those next time. All right. So there's a number of ways we could go. We could just, a really common way that I like to go is I like to have a piece on this end and then another piece on the other end. So maybe, you know, this one here. That would look really nice. And having, like, fitting that on the panel. That's really fresh looking, all that pear. Very, very pretty. Or, I'm liking the idea of this. The other thing we can do is we can have lots of stripes. So, for example, like this. See how we've got, these are 1 inch wide, each one. Okay, and I've just arranged them so they all fit. There's enough there for 5. So, next question, guys. Are we going to have strips across like this? Or are we going to do a piece that has got 2/3 of this color and 1/3 of the other? What do you think? First person to answer is the way I'm going to go. Strips. Okay, strips it is. All right, so this piece here is 10 centimeters wide. And I'm going to get my paper trimmer in. Set that aside. And I'm going to make my strips 9.5 centimeters wide, so 1/2 centimeter less wide than my underpiece. Okay, can you see that's just going to fit inside there? So I'm going to make this, which way will I go? I'll go here. I'm going to make this 1 inch wide. So 1. And I'm going to do that with all of them. So this is actually a great way to go if you have lots of strips that you want to use up. This is actually a really great way to go. So 9.5. Or if you have scraps, this is a great way for scraps. Now, I don't want all of my patterns to be too busy. Oh, that's the back of that one. And the reason I don't want all my patterns to be too busy is because, I don't know, it loses something. We want to sort of alternate with busier and less busy patterns. So I'm going to use a bit of this green on the other side. I think that's really quite nice. And then I've done quite a few with patterns because I have in these papers, all of them have either the green. See, that one has the coral, this one has the blue and the coral, this one has the coral, a little bit of blue, but the one thing that's going through all of these is the coral. So I'm tempted to actually, I could use the blue stripes in with this, that would look nice, but I'm tempted to use the coral. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go 9.5 centimeters again and 1 inch. I think the coral's the winner. All right, see how nice these all look next to each other? So even though the patterns don't match, you're going to get away with it by you're picking a unified color scheme that works with both the piece underneath but also the pieces on top. So I can, at this stage, I can decide how I want these to be. I can decide how much room I need, and I can decide if I want to rearrange them. This is how they're looking right now. Let me just move my trimmer. Those look nice, don't they? I might move this one. Just going to separate those a little bit. What do we think? Do we like the blue? Does the blue look okay in there? Does everybody think so? I think we get away with it, and I think we need to, I think it does work because it breaks it up a little bit. Yes, you're right, Kim, that might be too much pear, but I think, given that I cut a few of these earlier, and so I've got some different shapes, like if I'm putting this over here, I'm going to lose a little bit of that pear anyway, so that's actually also going to break it up. Or this one. Does that make sense, what I'm doing? You want the stripes in the middle, Marion. Okay, let's have a look and see how that looks. Move this one. I actually think, because the stripes are so symmetrical, I actually think I like the idea of putting them offset one side or the other. So let's just move them over here and see what we do with that. So it's kind of, to me, it's a little bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle or playing a game. You just sort of play around with them until you like the way it's going. I don't mind this. I think this is nice. Okay. All right, so everyone think that looks all right? So I have made these, I know it's crazy, I've made them an inch wide. When I'm working in metric, everything else is in metric, but I've made these an inch wide. So an inch, if you need to know, in metric is roughly 2.5 centimeters. So if that helps anybody, but there is a reason I do it that way, and that's because I'm used to using strips with my Pick a Banner punch, and for that you need 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, or 1 inch strips. So you can, and in fact this is something we could do if we wanted to. If we didn't want to have the strips going, well, that's rather nice too. Look, the dots on the other side, that would have worked as well. All right, so if I wanted to, I could have this piece, but because it's exactly the same, I could flag this end. I won't do it, but I could flag this end, and then I could have all different flags at different heights on this one. That would work. Does that kind of make sense, what I'm doing? So I'm just going to put these down. It's super, super easy card. I'm just going to run a runner of seal straight down there. Just pop that on. I'm leaving a little bit of a space in between each one. You can see some of these are the backs of the others. Pop that there. So the other thing about DSP, if you aren't a big DSP user, and this is something I really do like to do, is if you're using lots of DSP, you don't need to do as much stamping, and you don't need to add as much embellishments. So you can, for example, you know, you don't need to add ribbon, you don't need to add anything. You really have got the whole thing. See, I'm liking the way this looks. So let's quickly pull out our matching stamp set. That's this one, the Sweet as a Peach. And I'm deciding, I have a number of sentiments. We've got Sweet as a Peach, have a peachy day. We've got a happy birthday. Or you can do thanks for being as sweet as a peach. And you know, hope your day is as sweet as a peach. To a sweet friend, Happy Birthday to a Sweet Friend. It's a really nice set. I'm thinking maybe Happy Birthday to a Sweet Friend. That's a really nice little sentiment, isn't it? Anyone else like that? Alright, I am going to, actually, just bring this in. Oh, I just noticed I've got a couple of dimensional backs on my block there. Now, because we've used this colour, I wouldn't use the blue. There's not enough of it. I think if I'm stamping on here, I'm going to be stamping either in Pear Pizzazz, or the Calypso Coral. And I'm thinking maybe we do the Happy Birthday in one, with one, and then the To a Sweet Friend in the other. Okay, so I'm going to use To a Sweet Friend, and I'm going to pop that on a little block. There we go. So we've got Happy Birthday to a Sweet Friend. That's a nice thing to say, don't you think? So I'm going to do my Happy Birthday. Oh, you know what? I just wrote, I was going to do Happy Birthday to a Sweet Friend. Instead, I'm doing Thanks So Much, because that's the one I got out. Just wasn't watching what I was doing. So I'm going to do the To a Sweet Friend underneath. So I've got that straight. Just need to make sure that they're both straight. Oh, I messed it up. Look at that. That's not a Linda moment, by the way, guys. The Linda moment is when I forget stuff. Guess what? We're going to change the shape, because I'm not going to leave it like that. That didn't look good at all. So I'm going to get my Thanks So Much again. So I like the idea of doing the two different colours. I'm going to use a matte this time, because I should get a better result if I do. And it's over here. Maybe I'll be more careful about not losing stuff if I know I've got a penalty. Maybe. Probably not. Okay, so here we go with Thanks So Much again. I'm going to try. I got too much ink on it last time. That's better. Look at that. That's much, much nicer. All right. Now, I feel like that's looking good, but I feel like it needs something. So I'm thinking I might stamp some leaves around here. Let me grab another block. And there's a couple of leaves in this set. But I have actually done this one before. You've got this great big leaf kind of thing that is meant to be, it's got gaps where the peaches or flowers should go, which is actually, it's a really nice stamp. I'm just going to pop it on properly. But it's handy for doing a little bit of stamping around the edges of stuff. So let's try that. So I got my, I think I showed the picture, I got my new holiday catalogue in the mail, and I've been very busily going through and working out what I want. I've placed my first pre-order, which will arrive probably next week. And anytime after that I can start. That looks better. See, it doesn't look better with just those few leaves on it. I think it looks much nicer. All right, so I'm going to pop some dimensionals on. My dimensionals that are currently stuck to something else. They're stuck to my Tombow. I'm just going to use 4 dimensionals. Hey Lorraine, nice to see you. Hi Larry. I agree, it looks much, much better, doesn't it? Just needed that little something. All right, so I have got here, I'm deciding which way I want this to go. Do I want it to go normal, like a normal shaped card, or do I want to do a long thin card? I think for this one I'll just stick with normal. bone folder right here, and I'll just make that go over that edge. All right, now my favorite thing, I use either seal if I'm in a hurry, but I still like putting my card base or my card front onto the card base with Tombow Multipurpose. And the reason I like that is because it's wet, which means it takes a little bit of time to dry, which means you have time to wriggle it into the right spot before it dries. And that's a really handy thing. So if you're looking for a good glue that you don't have to, it doesn't require immediate commitment. You have a bit of time to get yourself organized before you need to have it perfectly placed. And it's cheap. It's very inexpensive glue, and I think it's a really great buy and something definitely to have in your collection. Okay, still something missing. I think it's bling, so let me quickly grab some of that. I've got some gilded gems here. I love these. I always have a packet, always on the go. You can see this packet's starting to get down a bit, so it means time to order another one. I just go through these. I like all the different gems that we have, but these are just lovely. And I think the gold goes nice with a lot of different things. There we go. I'm happy with that. You happy with that too? Like it? There we go. All right. Right, so there we go. We mixed some patterns and we got away with it. And similar to what I did here with this one. So remember, this paper's on special right now. This is called Sweet Symmetry. This paper's on special, and it's called You're a Peach, or Sweet as a Peach. I think it's You're a Peach. I can never remember because the stamp set is called Sweet as a Peach, and that confuses me. Shall we do one more? Have we got time for another one? This one, by the way, is the same, but long, thin strips going the other way. Okay, so it's exactly the same idea, but I went with, so these are 1/2 inch wide, or just over 1 centimeter wide. Okay, so that very similar idea, and I planned it out in exactly the same way as I did this one. Oh, I'm glad you like them, and thank you very much. Always got time? Well, not everybody, not everyone has, and sometimes even I don't have time. But let's pick a different paper this time, hey? I've got a different one close by. The other one that I wanted to talk to you about is the what's it called? In Good Taste. And that's this one. I'm not going to make a card with it tonight, but this one has been around for over a year. But it is, for anyone who hasn't realized this is a double pack of paper, okay? And I'm really, really excited that they kept it. It's got all these great textures. So it's got, you know, you've got wood grain, you've got gesso and oil paints kind of look. You've got tiles, you've got wooden walls, more gesso-y stuff. All these different textures, and look, stone. I mean, they're just beautiful and fantastic if you ever need to make masculine cards. So this to me is like a must-have paper. In Australia, this normally retails for $37, and right now it's on special for $31.45. So it's a great deal. And you can see, look, there's even like fabric wool kind of, like that's almost like a tweed. More tiles, lots and lots and lots. So there's a double pack, which means you're going to get extra sheets in this pack. All right, you can see how thick the pack is when that's a brand new pack, that one there, and that you can see how thick it is. Really, really great. This is actually this paper on top, that one with the light colored wood, that's my favorite. There's a couple of those sheets in here, and I just love them. I think they're beautiful. But I've used them all up in my first packet, which is why I bought another packet. All right. So let's pick another paper that's on sale. And this time I'm going to go with, this is called the hand penned paper. I'll show it to you in the caddy. So all of our papers, if you're looking for them, are on page, here we go, 132, sorry, no, 130, 31, 32, 33, and 34. Okay, so there's the You're a Peach paper we just looked at. Then there's these ones. These ones are not on special, but these are the In Color 6x6 papers. And these are all the, if you want to have a color that matches every single color in your color family collections, so there's a whole pack of Brights, a whole pack of Regals, that kind of thing. Okay, but those ones are not on sale. They're just a standard $20. Now the specialty papers, such as the Simply Elegant, that's the specialty papers are not on in the sale either. It's just the standard papers. The Sweet Symmetry is the one that I just showed you, the one that makes this. There's the colors. Doesn't it look different? Like looking at those, it looks quite blue, but by using a green base and picking out lots of paper with greens in it, it ends up looking quite green. And then this one ended up looking quite navy. So by using that color underneath, it really pulls that color out. Okay. The pansy petals, you've seen me use quite a bit. I don't have in the wild, but I've seen some really nice things done with it. And the Tidings of Christmas, if anyone wants to get onto their Christmas, you can't wait for the holiday catalogue next month, and you want to get onto Christmas now, it's a beautiful set. So that one's a good one as well. This is the hand pen. So this is the one I want to show you now. So it has some really lovely colours in it, a lot of subtles. And tonight I thought I would pick out some greens. Okay, so I've got, this is garden green, this colour. But you can see these have got a lot of greens in them. So, oh, that's a good strip. I'm going to use that one. So one side has got, aren't they nice? I used these for my Mother's Day class. And it was very, very popular. I'm really glad I did that because I really like them. I'm pulling out pieces as I go that will coordinate. So I'm going to pick out of here, I'm going to pick mint macaron, which is one of the colours out of here, and we're going to go with some colours that are going to coordinate nicely with that mint macaron. Actually, I don't need this. I don't know why I'm getting excited about a strip, because I'm not going to be using the strip this time, I don't think. So you can see it's got some lovely, lovely pastels and new colours as well. There's pale papaya in there. Also Highland Heather, if you like your purples, that's in here as well. I did, like I said, and Blushing Bride. I did do this for my Mother's Day classes, and that was really popular. Everyone really said they liked them, which was great. So this time what I thought we might do is some tiling. And once again, we're going to mix up some patterns. And there's a couple of different ways you can, I guess we'll call it tessellation. So we could use our postage punch, which I'm thinking we might. Other options for this would be, some of you may have seen the, what's it called? I'm trying to remember what it's called. The tailored tag or something. Let me have a quick look. It's in here. I'm going to find our punches. So the one I'm thinking of, yeah, tailored tag, that's it there. So this one is great because you can do a whole bunch of these shapes and then tile them all over the background, okay? Tonight I thought I might do the same thing. Oh, the Essential Tag also does a really nice tiled background, but I'm going to use the regular postage stamp punch tonight. Sorry, not regular, rectangular postage punch. All right, so let's see how we go. So any regular shapes or symmetrical shapes or reasonably symmetrical shapes are going to work well for this kind of technique. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to make a few punches and pop them over here. Not sure how many I want of each one yet, but I'm sure that we'll work it out as we go. So I'm picking ones that I think are going to go nicely with the green. What's on the back? We might use some of the back sides, but I haven't decided for sure. I do really like, this is garden green, and I think we'll get away with that quite nicely. So it's once again good to have some floral patterns, but then also some more all over patterns, which this one has floral, but it's got that, because it's more just monotone, it's going to work out quite well. And I'm going to have some stripes definitely on a few of these. I do really like the papers on the back here. It doesn't take long to use up the paper if you really like it, does it? All right, we've got a few here, so let's start with these, and I can always punch some more if I want to. Okay, and I'm going to decide how do I want this to go. We did the last card landscape, so I'm considering doing this one portrait. And I've just got to decide, do I want to start in from the edge a little bit? Probably. And I'm just going to kind of make it up as I go along. Which way should that go? Probably like that. And then what I'm going to do, it's going to be kind of like bricks. So I'm going to have this one starting, or actually let's move this one. If I move these down, then one's going to go off the end. That might be okay. We'll see. No, I want them where I had them. So I'm going to hold them here. So this is just like, I guess, using your pattern paper in just a different way. So I'm thinking I might put, so I want to have different patterns kind of showing up. And I'm going to kind of making the bricks. So by having this go halfway through this one and then starting here. Does that kind of make sense what I'm doing? So I'm like building a brickwork, if you like. I'm deciding whether I want more of this one. Yeah, I think I do. Now I could have another row here, but I'm actually thinking we don't need that. So let's go ahead. We could glue them flat, or we could put them on dimensionals, and I'm tempted to put them on dimensionals. What do you think? Let's start with that and let's see how we go. So I'm just going to move this paper out of the way. Grab my dimensionals. And I'm just going to use a couple here. I'm not going to put them too close to the edge. I'm just going to kind of put them there in the middle. I'm starting here. And it almost goes off the edge. I'm going to put the next one down. I like these little blue flowers. Well, I should have maybe, oh no, that's the same as this paper, I think. Yeah, it is. So does it make sense what I'm doing here? It's a simple technique, but it's actually, I think it's a lot of fun. And getting used to mixing and matching your colors and patterns can take a little bit of an adjustment. Right, so I'm going to start with this one. It doesn't really matter. I start with either this one or this one, but one of these ones where you've got this join between these two in the middle of the one next to that. Don't worry that you're running off the edge here. That's okay, we'll fix that in a minute. So I picked mint macaron, this one here, because it's in most of the papers. So it's a good base color to pick with this. And now this one is almost going to be off. So I'm only going to put one dimensional right on this end, so that the dimensional's on the mid piece, but this piece is going to be off the edge. And the same with this one. I'm going to pop that just here like that. Does that make sense? I could continue and do this end, but I'm not going to. I'm actually going to put a label or something like that here somewhere. I haven't decided yet. Maybe one like that. Not sure. We'll see. So I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to go along the edge here. and trim that off. Actually, didn't quite line that up very well. That's okay. The thing is, your designer series papers are a fantastic resource. I use my designer series papers in different ways depending on what I'm trying to achieve. One of the things I like to use them for the most is my color selection. So if you aren't sure what colors to work with, or you struggle sometimes to know what colors look great with what, turn to your designer series papers, because all those colors have actually been put together because they work. So if you use those colors that are listed on the back of a designer series paper pack, if you use them together, they're going to work because they made designer series paper out of them. They look so good. So it's actually a really great way to help you plan your colors. I also use them for accents. Sometimes I cut, and some of our papers actually have dies that match them, which is really, really cool. All right, I'm happy with this. Now I just got to decide, what do I want to have? I had a circle here left over from a project earlier that's actually I've actually used pale papaya, and that would look nice. I've already got my pale papaya on there. I'm wondering if I should just go with that. But I've also got some nice shapes here that we could use. Anyone have a preference? Yes, time to order more paper. Paper is fantastic, and anyone who doesn't know how fantastic it is might tell you that you can have too much paper, but I really don't know that you can, because it's really a great thing to have in your stash, especially when you're feeling not very inspired. You can let the paper do the talking for you. So which shape shall we have? We have the circle with the papaya already on it. That was, like I said, left over from another project. Or I've got these other shapes here. In this set, the hand pen set, let me quickly grab the matching stamp set. We have a couple of words here, not a lot in there. There's thanks, anything is possible, congratulations, and feel better friend. That's what we've got in here, which will all fit on here because they're not large sentiments, or I could pick something larger. That Sweet Symmetry set has got some beautiful sentiments in it. I really, really like it. That's like this one, you are perfectly unique, like that. And then, of course, we've got the peaches, but I don't really want to use the peaches right now. And then we have to decide what colour. We could go with the garden green because that's in here, and that goes, in fact, I think garden green would be a great choice, really. Does anyone have any thoughts about what shall we use I think I will. I think I'll just use this. I mean, it's already got the colour on it. It looks good. All right. Let me get a dauber. This one's already been used for green in the past, so I'm going to use it for a different green. I'm going to get my mint macaron. So this is the same color as my base. And I'm just going to zip around the edges here, because just by giving your edges a bit of a sponge, it just makes everything look so much more professional. I'm always surprised what a difference it makes for something, such a small thing. I always make sure I have plenty of sponges or daubers for this purpose. I'm forever buying daubers. Last week, or was it on my YouTube, I showed everyone my fancy dauber storage. Anyone see that? My fancy dauber storage is not fancy. That's the whole point. It's just a container with a bunch of daubers in it, and there's hundreds of them. And whenever I need a particular colour, I just rifle through until I find the one I want. All right, well, seeing as this stamp set is right here, and shall I have thanks? Or shall I have anything is possible? I think thanks is a nice, simple one. What do you guys think? Does it sound okay? You don't like the papaya? Don't like that one, Nairi? The thanks, Joan? All right, I'm going to give it a try. And if it doesn't look good, we can always put it on one of the other labels. So that's how the thanks looks on the papaya. And I use the papaya because we have a bit of that popping through here. Do we like that, or would we go with just a white tag? The first person to comment is what we'll do. What do you think? Just white or the papaya? Will I have a bigger one or will I have a smaller one? I mean, the thanks will fit quite nicely on the smaller. Like the circle as is? Okay, done. We'll do that. All right, so of course I'm going to need to put that on dimensionals. But if you notice, the dimensionals, we already have dimensionals under here. Okay, and if I'm going to put this here, I want it on dimensionals, because if I put it on dimensionals here, then it's going to move, it'll be down here. So I either need, I've got two choices. I can either put it here with a bit of just normal adhesive straight under here, put it flat, and then put a dimensional under here so it sits, so it's kind of up. Or I can put dimensionals under here, and then I'll need to put double dimensionals under here to make it the same height. Does that make sense? We can go either way. I agree, it does still need something, and I know what it is, Lorraine. It's either going to be bling or a ribbon. That's the usual answer. Bling or a ribbon. I'm leaning towards a ribbon, to be honest. Joan's already guessed a ribbon, said a ribbon, so I think you're right, Joan. We're going to do that. Where is everybody from tonight? Anyone else in lockdown with me? Or are you all safely in other parts of Australia or the world? So we have some choices. We have the lovely soft succulent ribbon, which even though I haven't used soft succulent here, you can see it's going to be a really good match. That's the one I'm probably leaning towards. The other choice would be my old favorite, which is the white seam binding ribbon. Because the white seam binding ribbon can be colored any color you want. And here you go, here's my fancy ribbon storage. See that? You can see I'm very fancy. So my daubers live in a container, and my ribbons live in a box. But it works for me. It's kind of organized. So this box, I have two boxes just like this one. This one has all my shiny satin sparkly ribbons, and the other box has all my plain flat solid ribbons. Make sense? So this one, I know if I'm looking for a shimmery ribbon, it's going to be in this box. So my seam binding, which is kind of satiny and shiny, that's always in this box. So it is kind of organized, kind of. It works for me. I've been doing it that way for years, actually. So we have a couple of choices. Now, this ribbon is nice to tie. Let me tie a bow with it, and you'll see it's quite nice. But so is the other, and each one's going to give us a different finish, a different look. So this one is going to look pretty nice. I'll trim it off, obviously, but I think that's nice. Do you like that? This one is also nice. We can just tie it, but it's floppier. It's not the other one is, I wouldn't describe the other ribbon as stiff, but it's certainly more stiff than this. This is very floppy, which I kind of like at times. So if we just had it white, this is how it would look. I'll trim it off, obviously, and that gives me that kind of soft look. But you can color this, okay? So to color it is really, really easy. All right, you put a dauber, or you can do this with blends as well. So there's actually a couple of options. Let me grab. I could do it in the garden green. That would be really interesting. Or I could do it in the mint macaron. I could do that. So either one would work really, really well. Let's just show you what the garden green looks like. So it's quite dark. but you can see that it's quite pretty as well. Another option is to grab my blends and use that. I don't know that I have a mint macaron blend. I did have one, but I have a feeling maybe I do. Yep, that's mint macaron, and it's brand new, still in its pack, so I could definitely use that. And it's light. I've got a couple of options there. And that's the dark mint macaron, so that would work. I've also got, and it would look really nice, the pale papaya. No, that's petal pink. Close, but not quite. Pale papaya, there you go. That would be nice, but I think that that might be too much with this papaya sponging underneath. So everyone's going for the soft succulent ribbon. They're not even giving the poor old seam binding ribbon a look in. I'll just show you how this looks. So this is the mint. All right. So yeah, either would look lovely, but you're right. I'm going to go with the mint. Oh, sorry, the soft succulent. I like the soft succulent as a color because it's kind of a neutrally green. It doesn't really have, it definitely doesn't have a yellow base. It's more towards a blue, but it doesn't, it's not overwhelming in that regard. It's quite neutral. So it's a good color. Oh, I dropped my ribbon scissors on the ground. Okay, let's have a look here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab a glue dot. Whoop, glue dot's not in their box. And let's find one. There we go. So glue dots are easy to use if you haven't ever used one. You grab your whatever you want to stick, in this case the ribbon, and you stick it onto the glue dot. Then you push really, really hard with your finger, and then you take the ribbon off. And if everything's doing its job properly, the glue dot comes with the ribbon, and now you can stick it. There we go. And I'm going to, once again, decide between a long skinny one and a standard. Let's go long skinny, just because I haven't done one of those before or for a while. I've actually got a, the reason I cut these is because I have a different card design in mind, something I just got. I need to have a play with it, and then I'll do that with you guys another time. All right. Okay, so let's go back to Tombow to do the same as we did before, so we can wriggle it into place before it dries. Yeah, maybe some dots. Do you think that it still needs something? I usually don't do ribbons and bling. Well, sometimes I do, but not often. Usually it's one or the other. So there you go. We've managed to use, this is a great way to use up some scraps, if you have scraps. I mean, obviously I didn't. I just cut it out of the paper, but if you had lots of smaller pieces, this is a really great way to do that. Okay, so let's have a little look at what we did tonight. Move everything out of the way so you can see our cards. And this is how they turned out. Do you have a favorite? Does anyone have one that they think was better than the other? Completely different ideas, and yet we used our DSP in a couple of, I think, really cool ways. And you can do this like with the other punch that I showed you, the tailored tag. That one tiles really well. Any symmetrical designs usually will tile really well. Number 2 is your favorite, this one? Well, see, all of you girls are sitting on the fence and just saying both, and I'll take that because it's very nice of you to say so, but you're allowed to have a favorite if you want it. The second one, number 2. So most people seem to be liking this one better, whereas I have a soft spot for this one because I love how fresh the colors are. But I like them both. I think they both look nice. And as luck would have it, I ended up making 2 thank you cards. Wasn't my intention, because this one was going to be a happy birthday card, but then I picked up the wrong stamp. But there we go. So I'm hoping these will be up on my Instagram page and this Facebook page. As soon as I finish this video, I'll pop them up so you can have a little look at them. If anyone has any questions at all about anything I've shown you tonight, just ask. Never a problem to ask. Also, there's a shop now button on this page if anyone wants to go to the online store and make a purchase. So these, like I said, these papers are 15% off right now for the month of July. And I hope that you guys will be able to take advantage of that and get yourself some lovely papers while they're marked down. So I hope that everyone has a great weekend. I'll be back on Sunday night for a YouTube live for anyone who likes to watch over there. The other thing is that if you are interested in the Sweet as a Peach suite and you'd like to get your hands on that tutorial bundle that I talked about earlier, you can buy it for $25, or you can place an order of $60 with me this month, and $60 or more, and I will send that to you automatically. So have a fantastic weekend, guys. If you're in lockdown, stay safe and just, you know, do all the lockdowny things. But the number one thing is look after you. Make sure that you're doing all the right things to do things you love. I think that's really important. So if you love to get crafty, do that. If you love to read a book, do that. Bake, sit, do whatever you need to do. Take a nap, but make sure you look after your mental health, because it's really important for us to all look after each other. And you can also join my little group of people who watches me make cards a couple of nights a week. I hope to see you soon, guys. All the very best. Bye-bye.